everybody, so we got a fun review today as we're discussing Season 2 of Heartstopper. Back when Season 1 debuted on Netflix, I found it to be a delightful surprise. For me, it was a show that I found so easy to fall in love with the storylines and the characters going forward, and since I wasn't able to cover the first season on the channel, I wanted to make sure that I changed that going forward, because I loved Season 1. I loved where we took everything. I was excited to see where we went with Season 2, especially because it seems like Season 2 was going to be heating up everything for everyone's storyline. In Season 2, we find Nick and Charlie navigating their new relationship, Tara and Darcy facing unforeseen challenges, and Tao and Elle working out if they can ever be more than just friends. But with exams on the horizon, a school trip to Paris, and a prom to plan, everyone has a lot of things to juggle as they journey through their next stages of life, love, and friendship. Where to even begin when discussing Season 2 of this show? It is going to be a little bit tough to talk about certain aspects of the show because I don't want to give away spoilers or anything like that, but I do think that Season 2 seamlessly and naturally follows up everyone's journey and just cranks up the romance even further to almost a nauseating level of sweetness. I mean, I'm okay with that, but it is a lot of romance this season. Given that all these couples or potential couples are in vastly different stages of their relationships, each one being put to the test all throughout the season. That to me is one of my favorite elements of Season 2 of Heartstopper, is the way that each group tackles their exploration of love. All of them are bringing different elements to the table. You're still getting those sweet, tender moments between Charlie and Nick and their new relationship, or the cute will they, won't they possibility of Elle and Tao being more than friends, teetering constantly between awkward and cute every single time we see them try and work through their feelings, along with the complicated relationship between Tara and Darcy. And the show is never afraid to tackle the serious subject matter too. Honestly, I was kind of surprised at how much Heartstopper Season 2 went there with those topics. There is some pretty heavy subject matter in Season 2 that I think some people could find very triggering. For example, one of the characters is struggling with a potential eating disorder. Then you have stuff like Nick and the fact that he's still struggling with the possibility of coming out to the rest of the world, which includes his really terrible father and his also equally as terrible brother. It isn't an overly dour series though, despite those mature themes, because there is a lot of fun, cute moments between Charlie and Nick that I think if you're a huge fan of their relationship in Season 1, you're just going to love to continue to see that love blossom between them, especially because they're going on these cute little adventures, running around Paris together. Lots and lots of cute banter between the two of them, many different makeout sessions, some of which get a little bit too steamy, which causes some complications while they're on their trip trying to hide their relationship from everyone. Even with the mature themes and subject matter at the heart of Heartstopper Season 2, I think a lot of it is done respectfully, which makes sense given the fact that the writer of the comic this is based off of is writing the series as well. How she's able to write these characters and their various conflicts pack so much emotion into their journeys that I'm sure many people in the LGBTQ community can find some empathy and relatability in, especially because a lot of these things you don't really see in a lot of mainstream media. Even one of the other storylines I haven't brought up yet, there's a character in the show that's tackling with the possibility that they might actually just be asexual. And even if they necessarily aren't a main character of the show, you see them sporadically enough all throughout 8 episodes where the journey they go on trying to figure out if they're asexual or not, I think is respectfully done. Now, pretty much the entire cast of Heartstopper is excellent, but the biggest standout for me, I think, is Kit Connor, because of the fact that he impressively shoulders a bulk of the dramatic workload of Season 2, just due to how Nick is having so much on his plate on the outside and internally. He just has so much stuff on his plate, trying his best to maintain his relationship with Charlie and their own complications that arise, but a big arc throughout the season is centered around the fact if he's ready to go public with his relationship with Charlie, being bisexual, and the possibility of being bullied and ridiculed for being bisexual. All around, it's just a brilliant, multifaceted performance, and I love the journey we go on with his character, and when he inevitably does stand up to these horrible people in his life, like his awful brother and his absent father in the few episodes that we do see his father in. All the while, you have Joe Locke giving another brilliant performance as Charlie, as this emotional support anchor, not just for Nick, but Tao as well. Charlie is such a sweet character. You can't help but love the character anytime he's on screen. His sweetness is just infectious, which makes it all the more tragic when we do get a glimpse into his own personal demons that surface while they're on this school trip to Paris that has a pretty emotional effect on the story at large. When it comes to Tao and Elle, I just love these two characters together. Anytime they're on screen together and you see the sparks flying between the two of them, it is just cute. Even if there is that possibility that they have to choose to risk their friendship to explore a relationship. It's so hilariously awkward but yet adorable. Because with them, there is some growing pains because Tao is such an awkward individual. He's trying to get outside advice on how to take on the situation with Elle, and it backfires in his face because he's trying to be someone that he's not. Whether it's the will they won't they relationship between Tao and Elle or not, I actually think that Yasmin Finney has a great arc overall as Elle. You see her come into her own and blossom more in the role because she discovers a new friend group at this art school, which, as fun as that is, also adds a lot of tension since she does want to pursue a future with that, adding further complications to the potential future she might have with Tao. Lastly but not least, Tara and Darcy is the romance of season 2 that I'm most mixed upon, just because amongst all the other things going on, it is the one that is the most all over the place, largely due to a good chunk of it being shrouded in secrecy, so it was tough to enjoy compared to the other ones, but it does end up making sense in the long run by the end of the season when everyone's going to prom, and it does have an emotional end to it. Out of all the different characters, it was definitely the one that I wished we had a little bit more screen time with, along with the fact that there's some romance going on with the teachers. Even the teachers get involved in the romance in some shape or form. I don't want to delve too deep into it because it's spoilery, but yeah, there is a lot of love in the air in season 2, and it isn't just relegated to the students. As for other aspects, Ben once again is back in season 2, and I think he's even worse in season 2. For the most part, anytime he's on screen, he's pretty much just scowling and being a bitter jerk towards everyone. Honestly, you could have cut him out of season 2 entirely, and I think nothing would have changed whatsoever. Even though it probably wouldn't have made sense in context of the story, I really wish that we had a bit more screen time for Olivia Colman in season 2. It was a nice surprise going into season 1 that she was Nick's mom, and she is sprinkled throughout the series, but it's very few far in between every time you do see her. She's not in the show a whole lot. One last thing I do have to praise about this series is the soundtrack. The music at large is incredible, much like it was in season 1. They had some of my favorite artists on the season 1 soundtrack, like Water Parks. Now with season 2 is a much bigger production, it seems like. They put a little bit more money behind it. Now we got songs from like the 1975 and Taylor Swift. Some pretty great stuff on the soundtrack. With how we leave things off for most of these characters by the tail end of season 2, I think it is going to get you excited for a potential season 3 on where the next step in these characters' journeys go. Of course, I have no idea where that leads. Maybe it's close to the books. I know they're still ongoing, so I don't know if they've caught up yet. Maybe I'll read them in the interim. We'll see how that goes. On the whole, however, season 2 should just leave a massive smile on your faces. It's still filled with a lot of cute, infectious charm. Even when tackling mature subject matter, it works perfectly to move these characters' arcs forward to craft a well-rounded story. But now you've heard my thoughts on season 2 of Heartstopper. Make sure you share your thoughts down below once you get a chance to check it out. Did you like the show? Did you not like the show? Leave all your thoughts down below because part of the funness is having that conversation with you guys down there. But thank you guys also, as always, for checking out the videos. I always do appreciate it. Make sure you leave a like on the video and also subscribe to the channel to update reviews, reactions, unboxings, and more. Till next time, I'll see you guys later.